Hello and welcome to my stamp studio. I am Beth Maxwell, one of your co-hosts for our Summer Palooza. So today is our Cheers and Sips retreat class. There is a video link for Sherry's portion and there'll be a video link for my portion as well. And I'm doing this recording for you and I'm going to flip down my camera and we'll get started on your projects. So pull out your Cheers and Sips retreat. All right, so here are the cards that we'll be making. I'll be making the first 4 cards here, and Sherry has done the second 4 cards. You should have your tutorial that was emailed to you, so check your email if you don't see it. And if you received your kit, what you'll want to do is pull out cards 1, 2, 3, and 4. Each of them are labeled on the bottom of the envelope right here, so you'll see a little number. That way you know which one you'll have. All right, so for this class, we're going to be using our Cheers and Sips stamp set, our coordinating dies, and I've done the embossing for you using the Glass and Gardens embossing folder. This is part of the suite of products. You'll also need your designer series paper that was cut 6 by 12 for you, so you'll need your papers. Let's get going on our first card. And this is our first card. It's your day. Let's celebrate. And I just need to grab, I like to go in the order I put it in my tutorial. I tend to like jump around. So I want to make sure that I'm following the tutorial for you. So what we've done here is we have a card base that is thick basic white, 8.5 by 5.5. I've scored it at 4 1/4. Right, so that is your card base. All right, grab your bone folder, give it a good press. Just like that. All right, then we have a piece of basic white cardstock. This measures 4 by 5 1/4. And I've run it through that embossing folder for you. So that will be in your envelope. Oh, I'm just trying to turn my fan on here. It got a little warm in the studio. All right. So what we're first going to do is we're going to pull out the ribbon that you received in your retreat package. This is the gold striped ribbon. We're also going to be using our holographic resin dots, so get those out as well. We're going to take our ribbon. I'm going to go ahead and tie a bow around the front here. I'm going to move some of this stuff off to the side so I don't have such a mess here on my desk while you're watching everything. All right. So I just need to tie a quick little bow. Kind of bow challenge this morning. All right. So I hope your summer is going well. I hope wherever you are, you've been having a good time enjoying friends and family. I know I have been pretty busy with my business as well as spending time with my family. You know, it's really important that we do that we take that time. All right, so I've got my bow there. Let's go ahead and get a pair of scissors and trim that down. All right. I'm just going to slide this over a bit more. Maybe make my bow a little smaller. Okay, there we go. And I'm just going to tug it so it's sideways there. All right. The next step is we have a nested essentials dies. Now, I've done this die cutting for you, but if you're interested in this die set, it is amazing. It is great for labels and everything and sentiments. So this is the nested essential dies. Back off to the side. So that's how I did this. I'm going to take that and we're going to stamp our sentiment in Secret C, one of our new in colors. So let's get our sentiment here. And I'm going to stamp the It's Your Day, Let's Celebrate. So we're going to take 2 stamps. I'm going to show you how to get those lined up. So let's celebrate and It's Your Day. All right. So what I'll do here is I'm going to lay these where I want to have them go. Now that's going to stick to your fingers, so just Take your time. Oop. And I should probably put this the right direction. Okay, so I'm doing it off to my right because I'm going to put my little sprigs over on my side. So let's just, ooh. Okay. Got that one. That one really wants to stick to my finger. All right, so now I'm just going to take my block and I'm going to pick those up. Now they're lined up the way I want. I'm going to take my ink here and go ahead and stamp. There we go. I'm going to get my cleaner and we'll clean these stamps right away. All right, get that clean. All right, and we're going to take our, make sure I've got some dimensionals here. Okay, so we're going to just adhere this right to the front here. So I'm going to do 1, 2. Now I'm going to do 4. The reason I'm doing that is because my ribbon is going to hit 2 of those. So I want to make sure that this is also sticking to my card front as well. Oh, I didn't even put it on my card front. Hold on. Let's get that adhered on. Okay, after you tie your ribbon, you can go ahead and put this on your card front. Okay. Then you can take your nested essential shape and put this on. Okay, just like that. Next step, and I have a little bit of this done ahead of time so that you didn't have to watch me die cut and everything else, but I will show you how I colored in my little sprigs here. So you have a little scrap of basic white cardstock in here. We're going to take these 2 sprigs and we're going to be stamping those in Mossy Meadow. So I've got 1. Well, that didn't stamp very well. 1, and then my other 2. Now you can leave them just like they are here, or you can use a blend and color them in a bit. So go ahead and take this. All right, so do, and I am just going to use the ink from the image there and just pull some out into those leaves. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just want to add some color, just like that. And I'm just really doing one single like brush stroke on there. If you have markers, you can do it that way. So this one, I'm just kind of taking it and dabbing it along there, just kind of pulling some of that color. Just like this. All right. I love this stamp set and dies. I've used it so much. All right. Now I'm going to take my dies here and I'll set them on here and I'll run them through the die cut machine. So now I've actually already done that. There we go. That way I can keep the time of the video a little shorter for you. All right. So now I'm going to take these, and it's okay if it's not, like my die bounced when I cut it. It's because my plates were all scratched up, so they probably weren't the most ideal to use, but, and I'm going to take a little bit of my liquid glue. Now I put my liquid glue into a fine point dispenser here. It just makes my life easier. So I'm just going to put some right here. I'm not going all the way up on here. I'm just doing a portion of it because these tops will be sticking out a bit. And we don't want it to hold down onto the card because we've got our shape here popped up. So I'm just going to go ahead and put my sprigs on here. Overlap them a bit. And 3. Okay, I'll hold it down for just a second. I'm going to take my resin dots here. Now you can color them with your marker or your blend, and I'm just going to sprinkle some on my card front here. Oop, that's not quite where I wanted it. Okay. All right, that one's just plain sticking to my finger. Okay, we'll just put it aside. it does not want to play nice. So we're going to put it on timeout and use it later. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. That one lost its glue dot. 4, and I need one more. Let's see. Let's put a little one right here. So I'm just kind of finding a spot in my embossed image there that's flat. And there we go. That is your first card. All right, let's move along. We're going to get to card number 2. And I just want to put my cards back together so I have them in their envelopes. Now, if you wanted, stamp your envelope with your sprig here. I'm going to go ahead and do that because I like to show, you know, stamping on your envelopes. You can also take your designer series paper. All right, so there we go. I'm just going to stamp that one right there and give it a little sneak peek to what's inside, right? Okay, let's just slide those in. Ooh, and do you know the price of stamps have gone up? I hope you were able to get your stamp, your postage stamps ahead of time. Okay, next card. This is our next card here. So your envelope 2, and here we go. And I've included that emboss piece. Now, normally you use the, ooh, ink on my hand. Normally you use it so the embossed part is sticking up. We're actually going to flip it over so the embossed part is down. So we're using the debossed side. I'll take my 8.5 and by 5.5 piece of thick white. I'm going to fold that in half, just like so. Use my bone folder here to give it a nice crease. All right. Now all the measurements are on your tutorial, so I'm not going to go over measurements when I'm doing it. I'm going to stop doing that. So I'm going to put this just kind of offset to the left a little bit, and I want to make sure that I'm using a strong adhesive. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to grab my liquid glue, and I'm going to run it all the way down the side, on both sides here, and I'm going to get some of this in the middle. Now, it looks like I used a lot of glue, but I'm using a really thin bead of glue, okay? A thin line of glue. All right, so we have that right here. Just give it a good press. Hopefully you don't have ink on your fingers like I do. All right, next we're going to pull out our designer series paper. So we're going to grab this piece here, and you're going to grab any 2 of the glasses here that you want to use. I'm going to use these 2 right here just to match my other card. And I'm going to go ahead and, you can actually die cut this one. I'm actually going to fussy cut them because I want to cut around those sprigs right there. So I'm going to go ahead and come in here with my scissors. And just kind of cut around some of those glasses there. And let's go ahead and grab my small snips because we'll be doing a small area. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. So when you're trimming these out, make sure that you turn your paper. Your scissors will not turn, okay? They're metal. They're not going to be flexible. However, your paper is. All right. Now, when I get to a piece that I have a large, a large amount of extra that I'm going to be cutting off, I trim it down. It just makes it easier to get in. And again, I'm just turning my scissors. So I'm just wiggling those around. And sometimes you find, like with stamp sets that don't have dies or paper that you want to cut out an image of, you will have to fussy cut. And I apologize, my dog is all excited. Someone must be at my door. All right, so I'm just turning that. I'm leaving a little bit of white around the edge. It's not really going to show up because it's on white. All right, and I'm going to just get this one cut. Again, I'm leaving just a little bit of white around there. If you wanted, you can cut out some of those flowers too. That would be really cute on the card. Now, I have used these half ones before as well. I just take them and hide them behind something. So I'm going to show you that really quick on how you can use those half glasses and kind of make your well, we'll do this one here. Now, I don't know how well it will work on this card, but I just want to show you real quick. All right, so I've got all my glasses cut out here. And now I'm just going to adhere them to my card front. I'm just gluing them down. Now here's where I said you could have more glasses there. No one will know that it's just a little portion, so you can always add like that. I don't want to do that for this card though. All right, the next thing I do is I need to stamp my umbrella and my berry. There it is. Okay, again, I have done that ahead of time, but I'm going to just show you how I did that so that you can repeat it on your own. And this time what I've used is I've actually used my black Memento ink. And I have my berry, my 2 berries and my umbrella, depending on what, you know, oopsie, what stamp sets you use. Now that is not going to stamp well. So when you do that, you need to get it cleaned off because it won't have a good sharp image. All right. I pushed too hard on my little stamp. So let me get that all cleaned out because I don't want it to goober all over everything. So I'm just going to tap. And now I'll go ahead and stamp this. All right, just like that. Now the reason I did that is because I am going to color with my blends. So the 2 blends that I used here are Timid Tiger and Berry Burst. So I'm gonna do my berry first. Here, I'm gonna let that dry a little bit before I do my tiger. So I'm just gonna color the whole berry in my light Berry Burst. So it can be a raspberry or a blue or blackberry, whichever. And then I'm gonna come back with my dark and just add a little bit of dimension to that. All right, now for my umbrella. I'm just going to take my brush end here and I'm going to do alternates here. I think I grabbed my light. Yep. All right. So I'm just going to do that. And then I'm just going to come back in and give it a little bit of shading up on the top. Okay. And for grins and giggles, we'll do this little top there. Okay. We're going to die cut those out. I've done that already. Unfortunately, this one, I colored the whole thing in, so just bear with me. You can do it either way. You can have it alternating like that, or you can have it like this. You can do multiple colors. Totally up to you. This is your card. This is your playtime. So do what, you know, you feel like doing. All right. So the next thing I do want to do is I'm going to take my little tall drink cup here, and I'm just looking for a scrap piece of paper. Let's see. I'm sure I have one here somewhere. Oh, that's not scrap. That's an important document. All right. I know I have scraps here. Let's see. All right. Here's that one right here. The reason I'm doing that is I'm going to stamp my straw stick here. Let's move this out of the way before I lose those pieces. All right. So we're going to go back to our stamp set. And we're going to grab this right here. It's actually like the skewer for, you know, your Bloody Mary mix. All right. So let's go ahead and stamp that. And I am going to stamp this right to the edge here, just like that. I don't want to have that little loopy thing on there, so I'm just going to stamp it like that. All right. Then we'll go ahead and bring kind of in our cards so we can assemble things. All right. So decide where you want your cups. Now, if you want to pop that up, you're more than welcome to. The other thing I want here is just a scrap piece. All right. So once you start, you know, cutting things, you're going to find a scrap piece. Otherwise, grab this one here. I just need to put my scraps back in my bag here. All right. So you've gotten a half a pack of your celebratory Sips designer paper. So you have all sorts of things to choose from. So I'm just going to actually grab a little scrap from here. All right. So I'm going to just take my scissors. I'm just going to cut that. I'm going to actually do this. All right. So now I've got my Let's Celebrate. Go ahead and stamp that in our Memento Black. Right onto our designer paper. All right. And what I want now is I have a 1/2 inch strip of basic white. I'm going to actually be putting this right on top, so I need to trim this down just a tad. I like to take a larger scissors to do that. It helps me cut straight, actually. All right, we'll take a little bit of adhesive here. We'll put that right on here. And then we'll just take that and trim it down. Okay, so now let's go ahead and add our pieces. I like to get my corners here to make sure they stay flat. Okay, I'll take this one here and put it right here. I'll take this one right here. All right. We're going to take our little berry that we stamped and grab a little mini dimensional and put that right on the back. Then we'll put this down here somewhere. We're going to take our umbrella here for our umbrella drink. And I'm going to use 2 of them here. I'm going to just put that where that corner is, just like that. All right. Next, we have our little sentiment here. So I'll go ahead and just use my mini dimensionals while I have them out. And I'm going to go ahead and use 3. And grab that. Oh, before I put that down, I forgot the most fun part. So I'm going to take a little loop of my ribbon here. A little bit of angle there. All right. So I can just flip it whatever way you want. I'm going to do it this way. All right. And I'm going to put this on the back of my bow there so it catches that middle one. And then I'll set it right here on my card. Now we're going to come back in with our little resin dots here and just put some of those in our drink. Put one here. Okay, come on. They're sticking to my nail instead of sticking to what I need it to stick to. All right, we'll use one of these right here. And we'll use this large one. Well, we'll put it right here. Okay. Again, randomly placing these. I am getting full of ink in today's class. Do you ever have that happen? Okay. Hopefully I wasn't too far off screen when I was trying to get those on. Okay, so that is your second card. Let me just get some of this mess cleaned up here and out of the way. All right, card number 2 done. All right, put it back in its envelope. Again, you can stamp whatever you want on the card, on the envelope itself. All right, now our next piece here. Now this is a fun fold. So this one is probably the one that you'll want to play again. It's not difficult. It just is. You just need to cut it right. That's all. Okay. So I have quite a few pieces here. And actually, where's my... Okay. I'm starting off with this piece of mossy metal cardstock. This measures 4 1/4 by 11. What you're going to do is you're going to score it, fold it in half. And now we're going to trim this side off right here. All right. So what we'll be doing is taking our trimmer. Where'd my trimmer go? And we're going to measure this over to 2 1/8 inch. And then we're just going to take our blade here and go right down to the score line. All right, just like that. And you can either use your trimmer to trim that off, or you can use your scissors. All right. There we go. So now you've got this extra piece. All right, so this is what you should have. Oh, my blade is getting a little dull there. Get that cleaned up a little bit. All right. Now, from your stash here, your paper, you'll want to find this paper here, right? So you'll be cutting a piece that is 6 inches by 5 1/4. And then what you'll do is you'll cut 1/2 at 4 inches by 5 1/4. That's going to go on the inside here. So let's just get that on. Make sure I have it going the right direction, right? All right, and then this 2-inch strip here, 2 by 5 1/4, is going to go right in front. It actually is going to go on the other side. You can use the same side if you want to make it look like one continuous card. Totally fine. Or you can use the opposite side. I'm going to use the opposite side. I want that to be right here. So I'm just centering that on my card front. All right. Now I have a piece of Blackberry Bliss. I'm going to fold that in half. All right. And what I'll do is I'm going to adhere it to my card base first. Now, here's the fun fold part of it. This needs to be under, so it's going to be overlapping just like this. So here is the easiest way to do that. Center this on the inside of your card. I would definitely put adhesive around all 4 layers because that's going to be open and closed. All right, so here we go. So I've got this centered right here, just like that. I'm going to open this up. I have a piece of basic white cardstock for my sentiment, for whatever I want to put inside. I'm going to put that right here. All right. Now I'll fold this top flap down and my front flap down. Here we go, just like that. If you need to, grab your bone folder to get that really pressed well. I'm just going to leave it pop up for right now. We're going to do our stamping. So I have a 1/2 inch strip here. Is this 1/2 inch? Yeah, 1/2 inch strip of white, and then I have my other piece of basic white. So what I will do is on a scrap paper, I am going to, actually I'm going to be cutting out from here again. All right, so as you can see, I went ahead and I stamped my glass and my ice cubes. So I'm just going to cut that out. And I only wanted to use a portion of that because I want it looking like the glass is not filled to the top, but pretty darn close. Okay, and I stamped that with Blackberry Bliss ink. So I'm just going to cut that out. I thought it was kind of fun to have the ice cubes in there. And this I do want to get a little closer to my line. All right, here we go. I don't really want to have a, that will be good enough. All right, so I just trimmed that out like this. We're going to come back in with our little berry again. We're going to bring in our blackberry ink, which I thought I grabbed it. Okay, my blackberry ink. And I'm going to just stamp along the bottom. Let's grab our scrap paper back in. I may end up stamping off a little bit, so I don't want to stamp onto my desktop. So we're just going to stamp the berries all along the bottom, just turning in different directions. Doesn't really matter. However you want to stamp it is totally fine. All right. So I've got that done. And that is all the stamping that we're going to do there. The other piece of stamping that we need to do is with our strip of paper here. And this we're going to stamp our sentiment using Mossy Meadow again. So we're going to pull out cheers and to you. So here's my cheers. Let's get a block here. So cheers. Cheers. And to you. Now you'll have more than enough in your kit here. I actually need to come back and stamp that one over here because I didn't give myself enough room to put my little angle cuts. All right. So I'm just going to angle cut it this way and then come over here and do the same thing. All right. So that's that one. And my to you, I'm going to do the same thing just like that. All right, cheers to you. Close up that stamp pad. And let's get this on our card front. Just like so. All right, we're going to take our cheers and we're going to put it on dimensionals. Okay, I'm just grabbing my minis. So I'm going to have this right here at the top. Then I'm going to take my regular size dimensionals, I think, for this one. I put them off to the side here. Oop, don't need that. One. We'll just do two. Oh, there is one little piece that I forgot to stamp and cut. All right, so I'm going to slide this over here. And I'm going to take to you. I'm going to pop that up on dimensionals as well. And I'm going to take two on there. Even though one would work, I'm going to take two. All right. So I'm going to put this right over our little drink there. Now what I need to do is stamp my sprig. And on that scrap piece that we have, we're going to go ahead and stamp on our Mossy Meadow cardstock with our Mossy Meadow ink. And we'll die cut that out. So bring my little die cut machine real quick. We'll bring in this coordinating die. All right, almost there. Okay, boop. I hope that didn't move. If it did, well, I'll have to just do it again, right? Okay. This is why my die bounces, because this is so used up that it doesn't keep it in place. I don't like how that turned out, so we're going to do it again. So this time what I'll do is I'll take a piece of my Post-it note tape, or you can use washi tape, whatever you have handy. Something that's sticky but not super sticky, right? So we're going to take that, take our die. Now right to that bottom dot, you'll be able to see your stem there. So once I have that all in place, I'm going to go ahead and put it down there. We'll pop it on there again. We'll run it through the die cut machine, and hopefully that will be a much better cut. You know, it always goes wrong when you're doing a video or a live. Never fails. Right. So I've got that done. We'll put it on our card. And we've got one card left. So we're cruising through these pretty well. This is what happens if your stuff is too sticky. It'll tear that paper. Okay, oh, I didn't have to worry about it. It's right there. Okay. Oh, that's much better. All right. So now we're just going to take this with some liquid glue. I'm just going to glue the lower portion of it because I only want this to be sticking. All right. I'm going to take that, slide it right here, just like that. We're going to grab our resin dots here and put those on the front. I'll put one right in my little drink here. Put another couple up here. No rhyme or reason, just grabbing and plopping on there. And I think we'll put another one right over. You know what? We'll do it right. We'll just do it right there. All right. So that is our third card. Now I'm just going to take a moment to get the supplies and clean this area up so we can finish with our fourth card. Okay, so let's get to our fourth card here. So here is our other fun fold. So I'm going to just go ahead and open it up and show you what it all looks like, and then I'm going to show you how to make it. Right? So you've got this triple flap here. I don't know the name of the card, but hey, this is the fun fold we're doing. I don't know. You know, people call these same cards different things. A trifold, a gatefold. It's totally up to you what you want to call it. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is pull out our envelope here. And what you're going to see is quite a few pieces. Now, I already have my Designer Series paper cut, but I'm going to tell you how to cut it now. So we've got our Pretty in Pink. We've got our Basic White. We've got a piece of Fluid 100 paper, and then our nested shape die. All right. So while in the tutorial, I walked you through how to make the card base first. I'm going to show you this piece first. This is my Fluid 100. The reason I'm doing that is because it needs time to dry. So you're not going to be able to stamp on it right away. It's probably something that you just want to get prepared and then come back later and finish. So I'm going to grab my aqua painter here. If you have a watercolor painter or watercolor brush, that's all you need, and some water. So the very first thing that we'll do is we're going to take this and get this all wet. All right, so squeeze your water on there. Now, you want it wet while you're doing this next piece here. All right, so I've got that whole thing wet. I'm just going to cover that for a moment. I'm going to bring in a stamp block and my stamp pad, and I'm just going to put ink on my block, just like that. I'm going to take my watercolor, my aqua painter here, and I am just going to kind of start dabbing, and then I'll come across. Okay, you can blend some of that together. You definitely want to let this sit and dry, all right? You do not want to use it right away because your other ink will smear and bleed, all right? So we're just going to do this on most of the card here, all right? So I'll set that aside to dry, which I've already done. Let me just move this piece over here. So here's my other piece. Now, if I want to go ahead and add a little bit more color in certain spots, I can. Again, I'll have to let it dry, but this should dry pretty quick because I'm just dabbing a little bit on there. All right, so it gives it more of a little pattern. To clean my brush, I'm just going to go like that. Clean my block right away, and then I'll just throw this piece out. All right. So let's get my cap back on here. And now usually I'll take this and run it under the sink or in a dish of water just to get that other ink out of there. All right, so here is my dried piece. I'm going to bring in my Secret C, and I'm going to stamp a couple of different things here. So I'm going to first stamp my, oops, what happened here? All right, I'm going to first stamp my glass. So I'll get my glass out here. Now, because this is wibbly and wobbly, I like to drop it on my tabletop and then pick it up with my block. And then I want my lemon. So I've got my lemon right there. And I think that's all I need. Oh, my cheers. Cheers. We'll just use this. Okay. All right. So I'm going to bring in Secret C, and I'll bring my glass in here. So here we go. I actually want it right here. I want to get some of that different color in. So I'm going to stamp that right there. I'm going to take my lemon. I'm going to stamp 2 of those. 1, 2, and Secret C. I'm going to go ahead and clean my stamps, and I'm going to stamp 2 more lemons and daffodil. Now you can, there's a little piece of scrap white in your kit. You can stamp on that, or you can stamp on we're just going to stamp here on the watercolor paper. We're just going to take our cheers. I'm just going to stamp it right in the corner here, just like that. I'm going to be fussy cutting it out, so I don't have to worry really about anything else. Let me get my scissors. I'm just going to trim this down so I make sure not to cut into it. All right. Okay, so now let's get our daffodil. Again, I'm going to stamp 2 lemons. You can do more if you like. You have a big enough paper to play around. If you want to do 2 glasses, you could do 2 glasses. Like you could have one that's half full. Totally up to you. But we're just doing the one for right now. All right, so now I need to have my die cut machine here. And I'm just going to trim this one down. And we're going to use our dies to get this all cut out. So I'm taking my glass die. I also need this fun pattern, so get that out right away. And then our lemon. Now there's a lot of different things that you can use in the stamp set. If you don't want to use a lemon, if you don't want it lemonade, it's fine. All right. Okay, I need to trim this down slightly because your little small embossed guy here only fits like 3 1/4 inch wide cardstock. All right, so I've got that, and I got my lemon. Now for the lemon, I'm just going to show you this really quick. You do have to kind of turn a little bit just to make sure it's that lemony shape, because it's not a true circle. All right, once you think you have it, right here, I'm again going to use my Post-it note tape to hold these 2 in place. All right, so that one, we're just going to tear it in half. All right, got my glass in place, and I've got my lemon back in place. All right, we'll run that through the die cut machine. I'll have to do that a couple of times because I've got 4 lemons to cut out. Got my glass here. All right, and my lemon. Get this next lemon cut. Right. Lemon, lemon. My extra piece there. I've got my other 2 lemons. Where did my other lemon go? All right, here we go. Now this time when I cut the lemon, I'm also going to do my glass. All right, so let's just turn it this way. I'm going to take our glass here, and remember I said to pull out this embossing piece. We're going to lay that right on the glass, right inside. All right, take a piece of Post-it note there. All right, we'll run this through. Are you ready for the ooh and the ah? We're gonna get this all cute so we can send it out. Now, if you wanted to remake this card, and let's say you have pink cardstock, make a pink lemonade. All right, how fun is that? All right, and I've got one more lemon to cut. And then we'll be done with our die cutting. And we'll get assembling our card. Now, it's not a challenging fun fold. Just take your time with it. You know, you just need to make sure you're scoring in the right places. It's actually a pretty easy one. You know, I love fun folds. They just make it seem like you're a whiz, you know, and it really doesn't take a whole lot to do. All right, so we've got our little pieces here. I've got my dies. I kind of want to put my dies back in their home because what happens with me is I lose my dies. So I have a little magnetic sheet inside there. I save these like this. All right, and then I put it inside my stamp case. So now I'm saving myself room as well. All right, so I'm just going to do that for right now. Let's get our things going. Let's get this cut out. Now, again, this was totally not in the order that was in the tutorial. I apologize, but I just felt like I wanted to get your Fluid 100 paper colored and everything before, so maybe it dries by the time you're done with the rest of it. If not, just put it aside. Go on to your next retreat classes and stamp those and come back to this one. All right, so there's all my pieces. Now, this is my 5.5 by 10 inch piece of cardstock. So I want you to know it's a different shape. And we're going to do some scoring. We're going to do some scoring here. And I'm just going to get to we're going to score on the 10 inch side at 2 inches. Make sure you're scoring and not cutting. So 2 inches. And then we're going to go to 6 1/4. Which is right here. Okay. So 6 1/4. There we go. All right. So this is going to fold in. And this will fold in. All right, so now in your tutorial, I talked about putting in your cardstock piece first. So take your white cardstock and just put it on the inside. You can stamp on it first, or you can stamp on it later. Totally up to you. Maybe you just have a sentiment that you want to write in, but we're gonna go ahead and put that there. I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do with the lemon since I have it open. I'm actually taking my lemon here. And this one I want to be whole. So I'm going to take my liquid glue and I'm going to put liquid glue around here. Now, oh, is this my old one? This might be my old one. Oh no. Okay. So I want to make sure that I have my liquid glue kind of spread out here because I really don't want it to ooze out on the inside of the card, but I really want this to hold in place. So I'm just spreading it around. And I'm going to put it in the bottom corner right here. All right, then I'm going to come back in with this one here, and I'm just going to cut this one in half. It doesn't matter where you cut it, just cut it in half. You're going to add some liquid glue to it. Again, just take your tip and kind of smear that so it doesn't go gushing out. All right, and now I'm just going to put it right wherever it drops. Perfect. Okay, now let's decorate the outside. So the next thing you have to do is cut your designer series paper. So this is the piece I used. This was a 6 inch by 5 1/4. I then cut that down to be 4 inches, and then this will be 1 3/4. So you have to trim it down just a little bit. All right, so then I'm gonna put that right there. So let's just do this. I need to grab my bone folder and kind of give that a good press. All right, so I'm just gonna center that on here. And while I'm out, let's see, where's my bone folder? Got our bone folder right here. Give that a good press. Give this one a really good press. All right, now I'm going to take my other piece and I'm going to put that on this panel. And you can use, you know, whatever designer series paper you have there. You know, you don't necessarily have to use this pattern. I just thought this was cute. Okay, we have our large nested essential die, and I'm going to adhere that, but I'm only going to put dimensionals on the left side here. I don't want anything here because if I do have something here, it's going to end up sticking and you won't be able to open your card. But before I actually put that on, I'm going to take my ribbon. Okay, and I'm going to be making a bow over on this side. Now, I do want this long, okay, because as they're, you know, tying and untying, you know, ribbon can kind of get frayed, so I'm going to keep my tails long. Right, so here we go. This ribbon is actually pretty easy to tie. It's very thin, which I like for cards because it doesn't leave a big bump. And actually, this might even be a ribbon I would consider using in my scrapbook. All right, so, well, I should have trimmed it down before I start doing anything else, right? Okay, there we go. All right. So now that I got that there, I can move it to wherever I want. I'm going to lay this right here and figure out, is that where I want my bow or do I want it to go up more? I'm going to slide it up. Now I'm going to take my dimensionals and I'm going to use quite a few here. So, and the reason I'm using quite a few is because it's going to catch that ribbon. All right, there we go. So I'm just going to go down the line like that. I probably could get away with one more in the middle. Maybe we'll try it. I just want to make sure that I'm going to be staying within my little boundary there. So this one, I'm going to butt right up to these other two, just like that. All right, by doing that, when I set this down, I'm going to catch my ribbon, at least on one of those. So if I open this back up, I can see that my dimensionals aren't sticking out. And if you look in there, I've caught the ribbon with one of the dimensionals. All right, so that, let's tie this back up. Okay, maybe. As I was saying, it's really easy ribbon to tie. Apparently my thumbs are not wanting to tie ribbons today. It happens. Okay, there we go. All right, now we're going to decorate our front. So we're going to take this, and I'm going to put this up on dimensionals. So this card uses quite a bit of dimensionals. And I'm just going to put 3 on there. I'm going to take my cheers. I'm going to put a dimensional right behind the letter C there. Now, if I trimmed it smaller, I'd have to use a smaller dimensional. And my lemons here, I'm going to take 1 lemon, and I'm just going to slit it to the middle. All right, let's get these on here first. And I'm going to just center that. Oh, I'm going to come down a little bit. I lied. I don't want it quite in the center because I'm going to take this one that I cut in half there. Well, not in half, but I made a little slit. I'm going to take a little bit of my, take a small small dimensional, all right, just like that. And I'm going to slide it onto my glass like that. The other one, I'm just going to take a little bit of glue and put it on half of it, not quite half, right here. All right, there we go, just like that. And my cheers, oh, if I can get this peeled off, I'm going to put a little bit of glue over here, and we're going to just put that right there. And that is my portion of the Cheers and Sips classes. So let me go ahead and bring out the 4 cards again so you can see them all together. And so that was card 4. Card 3. Maybe I can do it this way. Just need to pull them back out of these envelopes. And 4. I'll have to put this one up here. All right, so those are my, oh, that won't fit either. You can't see them all at one time. Okay, I'm trying. There we go. Those are the 4 classes, 4 card classes for my portion. All right, I look forward to seeing you again for the Notes and Totes class. So stay tuned for that. Click on your video link and you can start that class whenever you're ready. Bye.